hey there, you awesome bipeds, quadrupeds, and even the occasional dinosaurs. It is I, Little Wolf, and I'd say, welcome to my den, and wipe your paws, and the cauldron's always bubbling for the coffee, tea, or hot chocolate. But, as you can see, look around, we are actually inside of a train. And there's kind of a good reason for it because of what I want to discuss today. But first off, I would like to apologize for not putting anything out for a little bit now. I was actually feeling very under the weather for a while and was basically, if you pardon the figure of speech, sick as a dog. I was getting maybe 3 hours of sleep a night, eating about half a meal a day or so, and just whatever it was kicking my butt and keeping me down. But I did watch some shows. I watched, let's see here. I'm on the third episode of Storm of the Century, which, if you haven't seen that yet, you definitely should. And I've watched about 18 episodes of Assassination Classroom, which my friend Bun Bun definitely told me I should watch, and I was able to find it and get a bunch of the episodes, so I definitely watched a lot of that, and it is definitely a good show and really worth watching. But let's get back to the fact that we're on a train. And no, it's not because my caboose is loose or anything like that. I watched Horror Express, which is possibly one of my first movies I really remember watching as a child, besides like Night of the Living Dead and The Brain That Wouldn't Die and Vampire Bat and The Bat. And for a long time, I would always whistle a certain tune that would happen in the movie. And in a weird way, too, it is almost reminiscent of the opening theme song to Lassie. So I remember as a kid I would whistle that, and my dad would always think that I was whistling the tune to Horror Express. And for a long time I didn't really understand why, because it had been a long time since I watched it. But seeing as how we can basically find almost anything online, I was able to find Horror Express on archive.org, and you can also find it in the tubes if you know where to look. So I was able to pick it up quite a few times now and give it a watch, and I always keep forgetting how good of a movie it is. I mean, to get to the storyline of it, you have Sir Christopher Lee playing as Alexander Saxton, and he's an archaeologist or anthropologist, one of the two. Either way, he doesn't lick rocks, but they have found a fossilized creature, and they are transporting it on a Trans-Siberian train. And you have a whole bunch of really good actors in this. Like I said, you have Sir Christopher Lee, you have Peter Cushing, who plays a guy named Dr. Wells. Not Clive Wells, but Dr. Wells. Let's see here. Tony Savalas makes a entrance at some point as, let's see here, he's part of the Russian military, I believe. But let's see here. Let's go through. Right now I'm looking through the IMDb stuff and just want to give you a quick overview of what the movie is about. Right now it says while traveling on the Trans-Siberian Express. An anthropologist, oh, that's what he was, okay, and his arrival must contain the threat posed by the former's cargo, a prehistoric ape which is the host of a life form that is absorbing the minds of the passengers and crew. And to put it bluntly, yeah, that's basically what happens. Like I was saying, Christopher Lee as Alexander Saxton is transporting his cargo, which he says is a fossilized being, almost like an ape creature that he found frozen in a cave, and is somewhere around 2 million years old, they say in the movie, which is kind of hard to believe, but hey, you know, evolution is a thing. Look it up, peoples. And to all of you who don't believe in evolution, I'm sorry. But even at the beginning of it, just before they even get onto the train, the box that is holding the creature is in. It's all boxed up. It has a tarp over it and it is locked up with a chain and a lock. And there's a thief who likes to go around and try and get into people's locked trunks. He has a specialized key to do so. And it cuts away from his scene for just a moment. And then when it comes back, it shows one of the security guards at the station comes back and sees that the box is now open and there's part of a plank that has been pried away. And he looks over and the sheet that was on top of it is now on top of the body of the thief. And he pulls away the sheet and you see that the man's eyes are all completely white. And it's a very strange thing. And while this is happening, Alexander Saxon is trying to get his ticket to get onto the train, and the manager at the train station is telling him, I don't have any room on there for you, I don't have room for your cargo or anything like that. And then in walks Peter Cushing as his character, Dr. Wells. And he says that he needs 2 tickets for private compartments, and he also needs to be able to put on 3 boxes of cargo. And the owner says that that's not possible, but then Peter Cushing takes out a bunch of money and hands it to him. And the guy says, okay, yeah, we can probably work something out. And Cushing turns to Christopher Lee and says, see, that's how it's done. And being the British man that he is, Christopher Lee says, well, where I come from, we call that bribery. And so he then walks up to the desk of the man and shoves all of the stuff off his desk. And next thing we know, a platoon almost of, I want to say French soldiers, I'm not exactly sure, but they walk up and announce that they're there to help Christopher Lee with his experiment and move everything that he needs to have moved. And suddenly the manager realizes, hey, this is not a guy to mess with, so he says, oh, here's your ticket. I forgot that I set it over here. But right away, like I said, the first person is found dead next to the box, and then you meet this very interesting priest. And I always, for some reason, get him confused with Christopher Lee's character, and it's just one of those times whenever I think back on the movie, I always picture it as being Christopher Lee's role, but it's not his role. No, I don't want the writing credits, sorry guys. But he's like this weird, eccentric monk or priest, and he is traveling with a royal family that is also on the train, and he is their advisor. Um, it's Father Perjordov. I'm probably very butchering that very badly, but it's Alberto de Mendoza. Mendoza? Yeah, that. But he is traveling with Countess Irina Petrovska, and I'm probably very badly saying all of these names because I am not Russian. I kinda wish I had Hammer here because he probably would be able to help me out quite a bit with this since he says he's also studying Russian and learning how to pronounce all of this. I probably should have talked to him a little bit before I did this, but I didn't even know I was going to do this, but I thought I should put something out since it's been a while. And you have inspector on board of the train, who is Inspector Mirov, and he is the one that goes around and notices that people are dying on the train, and later on he becomes a more important part of the role. Um, Not sure if I'll give that part of it away, even though this movie was made 10 years before I was born, so this movie is now about 49 years old. But what does happen is you have Peter Cushing's character, Dr. Wells, later on gets the baggage conductor to try and take a look inside of the container that is holding the creature for Alexander Saxton. And later on, when he does wind up looking inside of it, the eyes on this creature start to glow red. And you suddenly see the conductor's eyes slowly start to bleed and then fade to white. And later on, you find out that what is happening is the being is absorbing the memories of whatever creature it is looking into the eyes of, and that's why the eyes slowly turn white. And later on, also, the creature actually is alive somehow, even though it's about 2 million years old, and it does make an escape on the train. And they find the conductor's body inside the container that it was in. And so then it's kind of a rabbit hunt to try and figure out where this creature is. And any time that it goes after somebody, it has to turn the lights off before it can do its red eye, brain-sucking information bleeding thing out of the creature or person that it's doing this to. But it's also just as susceptible to death as any other creature, so it does wind up getting shot, and it gets shot 4 times. And at that point in time, it transfers into the body of another person. And later on, when they're examining the body of the creature, one of the coolest scenes happens is that they take the fluid from the eyes of the creature and look at it under a microscope. And that's when they realize pretty much how old this creature is, because at one point you do see the Earth from the vantage point of the being. And so it's a out in outer space shot looking at the Earth as if you're a satellite. And there's also some pictures inside of the eye of the creature of a brontosaurus and I think a pterodactyl, if I remember right. This movie just kind of sucks me in, and sometimes I forget which creatures you do see in its eye, but what sticks out is you do see a brontosaurus and you do see the Earth as seen from space. So it does say that this creature came from another galaxy and with beings much like itself, and it accidentally got left behind. And the way it survived was by going into the bodies of other creatures such as fish and invertebrates, and slowly through dinosaurs, and later on it goes into the uh, prehistoric ape where it got frozen to death, and that's how it's found later on. But throughout the whole time, as the creature is moving about the train in the new person, it comes across different characters who are scientists. Like one of them, he would almost be like a PhD Tony type, where he knows a lot about gravity and how it works. And he mentions, right now I'm just an engineer, but I'm studying all of this information. And so the creature, if you pay attention to what it's doing, it's going after different information to try to get off of our planet. And it goes after one person who has developed a metal that is harder than steel. And when it's heated up to so many millions of degrees or whatever, instead of melting, the metal actually gets harder. And so he gets the information from that scientist. And also the other engineer that I was talking about who knew about gravity, he gets the information from him. So now he has the information on what metal he can use. He has the information of an engineer for building, and he also has how much force you need to escape the gravitational pull of Earth. But as all of this is going on, the police are slowly becoming more involved with this because telegrams are being sent to different areas. And this is where Tony Savalas makes his entrance, and he gets on board at one station and he starts to interrogate the different passengers to try and figure out what is going on. And you get an interesting um, little scene between him and the priest, where the priest is saying, the power of Satan is here and it's very strong, and he's holding up his cross, but for some reason he kind of went from being a priest of God to now wanting to be a priest of Satan, since he has witnessed what this creature can do, and the creature will not kill him and absorb his memories, because he says, you are useless to me because you are just a priest or a monk. And so you just have that character just following around the creature and just saying, who are you? What are you? Can I serve you? You can be my master, and everything else. And Tony Savalas' character comes onto the train and starts, like I said, interrogating everybody. And you have an interesting point where they decide that since the creature is using the eyes of people to draw the information out of the other creatures, and you see the pictures of whatever it is that it sees inside the fluid of the eyes, that somehow is where the brain is for this being. So they think, if we can check people's eyes, we should be able to tell if this is the creature or not. So you get like a weird variation of like the blood testing scene from it, or no, not it, The Thing, sorry. But they realize later on that the lights do have to be turned off in order to be able to tell if it's the creature or not. And so much stuff happens in this movie that it's just a fun watch, and I do highly recommend that you do give it a watch. And yes, it is a movie from 1972, but that shouldn't change like the impact of the movie itself. The story itself, I think, is really good. It's probably a really good, almost spin-off type thing of The Thing. And I think that's really all I want to say too much about that. I would definitely say that you should give it a watch and see if you do like it. And I'm sorry that this episode is kind of short, but I'm just now trying to get back into the swing of doing all of this. But with this movie, definitely sit down, have a group of friends around you if you want, or just watch it by yourself. And like I said, you can find it on the tubes, you can find it in archive.org. I'll put it, link to it in the description of the show. But I really do think that this is a movie that should be watched and shared by people because it's another movie where it's basically stuck on not really one set piece, but stuck in one area since they are all stuck on a train. And a lot of it happens in either the baggage compartment or in the dining compartment. You see what the private compartment is for the Duchess and things like that. But it's just so fun to see the different interactions between Peter Cushing and um, Christopher Lee's character, and then you have all the fun of when Tony Savalas decides to jump into the picture and have his little go ahead. And the ending of it is interesting too. But like I said, I really don't want to give that away. I think you should give it a watch. And I'm gonna go ahead and lay down now for a bit. And I hope you guys did enjoy this. I know I'm not really one to go into like a deep review of a movie. Like I said, I just want to come through and say, hey, I like this movie for this reason, and is it gonna be a fun watch? And I definitely think that this movie would be a great watch, especially for anybody who likes trains or people who like the movie The Thing, or if you kind of like a weird religious type horror movie. And kind of even zombies show up at one point in this. And there are so many movies that take place on a train that are fun. Recently I did watch Snowpiercer, and that is definitely a good movie. Of course, starring the very amazing John Hurt. And I watched that one not too long ago. I know there's one that I still need to see, Train to Busan, and then you have this movie, and I'm sure there are many other movies that take place on a train. But like I said, I think my stop is coming up, and it says that this place is Willoughby's. So I think I'll get off here for now. I hope you guys have a good day, a good night, a good morning, or whenever you're listening to this. And remember, we do only have one planet to live on, so let's at least be civil. And I love all of you guys, and let's have some fun. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye, you awesome bipeds, quadrupeds, and even the occasional dinosaurs.